Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Facebook Live. My name is Felicia. I am the owner and founder of She Fire Fitness, the compassionate fitness and nutrition coach helping prime time women move with power and purpose throughout life. Thank you for being here. If you're watching live, I would love for you to send me some comments, some heart emojis. Just let me know you're here. If you're not watching live and you're watching a recording and you're not in the Girl Get Your Sexy Back group, I want you to come on in. It's free. Just find it on Facebook, and I would be glad to have you be a part of our group. So we are going to jump right in. We do this every Friday at noon. I'll say that as well. So for the month of April, our theme has been Move More, along with the American Heart Association. However, for this week, I'm taking a little detour. We're going to be talking about sugar, and it's based on a picture that I posted in the Facebook group this week of a what I call healthy-ish sweet potato pound cake, and it generated a lot of comments and it got me thinking about some things, and I appreciate everybody's input and engagement. I also put a poll in there about what has more sugar, ketchup or orange juice, and I'll address that at the end of this session, so hang around. Okay, sugar addiction. Let's talk about sugar addiction, what it is, why it's important, and actions that you can take. Let's start with what is sugar? Sugar is a carbohydrate, one of the three main sources of fuel, along with fat and protein that our body uses for us to move and to live. It is the body's most readily available form of fuel. What I should say is the most accessible. It's the easiest one for our body to access. It's also known as glucose, and you've probably heard that before if you've been around diabetics like I have with my husband and others, so you're probably familiar with that term. Glucose is the main fuel for the brain. So the thing that I want you to take away is that sugar is not bad, and we need it for life. So let's make sure we have that in our minds. Sugar is not bad. Excess sugar is the problem. So we talked a little bit about what sugar is. Let's talk about what is addiction. So I did a little research, and I discovered on the drugabuse.gov website that addiction is defined as a chronic relapsing disorder characterized by compulsive drug seeking and continued use despite harmful consequences and long-lasting changes in the brain. It's considered both a complex brain disorder and a mental illness. So that's addiction. We've talked about sugar. What is sugar addiction? Is it real or not? There's been some extensive study done about sugar addiction, and one that I want to reference was published in 2007, a study on rats, and I'll put the link down below because it's very extensive and I'm certainly not going to go into all the details, but it's on the NIH website, the government website. To summarize, sugar activates areas in the brain that release substances like dopamine and opioids. We've heard that word before, that can be addictive and may lead to binging, withdrawal, and craving, which are all aspects of addiction. The data suggest that under certain circumstances, rats may become sugar dependent, which may translate to humans. However, the jury is still out and more research and study is needed. So the bottom line is, the answer to the question, is sugar addiction real? We just don't know based on the data, based on the science. And if you guys have been around here any length of time, you know that I'm all about the science and the data. We don't just, we want to know what the research is telling us rather than come just following every fad and every fancy that comes along. So we've talked about sugar, we've talked about addiction, we've talked about sugar addiction. Why should you care? At the end of the day, what difference does it make to you? Well, the reason this topic I think is interesting is because I hear from a number of you, particularly when you join the group and I ask you what are some issues and concerns, and I hear I have a sugar addiction. So it's kind of piqued my interest from that standpoint. So I know some of you may have or think you have a sugar addiction. And if that is an issue or problem for you, it's probably the case that you're getting excess sugar. Because again, sugar in and of itself is not bad. We need sugar. Our brain needs sugar / glucose. However, you likely know, and if you don't, I'm going to remind you that excess sugar is linked to type 2 diabetes, weight and fat gain, particularly in the belly, of course, dental issues, elevated bad cholesterol, and just increased risk of high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, strokes, etc. So we want to be mindful of excess sugar. Dietitians recommend that we consume sugar sparingly. Here is their suggestion. They suggest eating at most 100 grams of fructose per day. And I want to give you a little tip. Anytime you see a word with the OSE at the end, fructose, glucose, dextrose, etc., that's sugar. So when you're reading the label and you see that, that's sugar. Whenever you see fructose, that is sugar that comes from fruit. So I think it's interesting that the dietitians point out sugar from fructose, which to me that's implying that we really should be focusing on getting our sugar from fruit and not from man-made or manufactured or prepared substances. Because when you're getting your sugar from fruit, you're also getting minerals and other substances that's going to help your body. That's more like whole food eating. But going back to the 100 grams of fructose today, most of us don't think in terms of grams, but that's equivalent to about a half a cup or 24 teaspoons. So that kind of gives you a benchmark in terms of what the dietitians are telling us about how much added sugar to get. We want to focus on getting it from natural sources, not added sources, and we want to keep it to about half a cup a day. So gang, how many of us are doing that? That's a good question. Okay, before we move on, because I want to also talk to you about what actions that you can take if you think you have a sugar addiction. I want you to think about the power that your words have. The Bible tells us that life and death is in the power of the tongue. So we want to be mindful of that. So if you think you have a sugar addiction or you have it, whatever the research says, I want you to think about the words that you use. And instead of saying, I have a sugar addiction, I want you to be the boss of you. And I want you to instead think of saying something like, I am reducing my intake of added sugar, because that takes the burden off of this so-called addiction, and it makes you the one that's in control of your life and your body and your health and your wellness, and that's where we want to be. So reframe it. Our mindset. We're always talking about mindset around here. Okay, let's move on, because I do want to just kind of get in and get out. We talked about sugar, we talked about addiction, we talked about why you should care. Let's talk about some actions you can take. We've already talked about reframing it if you think you have a sugar addiction. We want to look at the root cause, and I want you to consider redoing the week of wellness practice that we did in January, where we took a mindful, prayerful approach to all aspects of our health and wellness. And one of those things that we addressed was sugar. It is in the guide section of our group. So I want you to consider doing that. Even if you just do a few days or just do the sugar portion, but it'll allow you to be reflective and mindful about where you are in terms of your sugar intake and other areas, your rest, your exercise, every aspect of your wellness. Okay, I have a special announcement. I'm so excited to share that the Get Your Sexy Started Belly Fat Bye-Bye course is back. I am going to be offering it on May 16th through the 23rd. I will be opening registration soon, but go ahead and mark your calendars. I got such great feedback on this mini course that I had back in March, and I want to offer it again. And if you've taken it, I'm going to give you the opportunity to retake it for free. So I'll be giving you more details about that, or if you want to, just shoot me a DM or post in the group and let me know. Okay, so make sure you download the Week of Wellness Practice. That's your quick win for today, and pay particular attention to doing good swaps for sugar. Okay, before I wrap up, the question that I had before you guys was, what has the most sugar in it that I put in the group, ketchup or orange juice? So let me go through that real quickly. Listen carefully because it may surprise you. Ketchup, on average, ketchup has around 4 grams of sugar per tablespoon. A tablespoon is about 4 grams, because I know we don't think in terms of grams. But what that tells me is ketchup is mostly sugar. So 1 tablespoon is about 4 grams. So according to my research, most people add about 3 tablespoons of ketchup to their burgers. So think about that. So every time you have a burger, if you're putting ketchup on it and you're doing like most people do, you're probably getting about 3 additional tablespoons of sugar. And think about that minimum that we want to shoot for. Orange juice. A 10-ounce bottle of orange juice, which is about a glass of orange juice, contains about 35 grams of sugar. That's about 9 tablespoons, guys. And keep in mind, orange juice has it has vitamin C and other good stuff in it, but it's liquid calories, and I talk about that in the Week of Wellness. So the liquid calories are quickly absorbed into our body. They're digested quickly, and sometimes it doesn't make us feel as full, so we may have a tendency to overdo it. So that's the battle, ketchup versus orange juice. It really depends on how you look at it, but just on the surface, based on how we would typically eat, the orange juice would have more sugar, and it's going to be quickly digested versus eating a whole orange. And that's what we really want to do. We want to try to stay away from getting those liquid calories. Okay, I am going to go ahead and wrap up. I'm so glad. Hey, Sheila, thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Okay, well, Sheila, you can still drink orange juice. Sheila says no more orange juice. Remember, we're not about black and white here. We're about moderation. We're about everything in balance. So, orange juice has vitamin C. It has good stuff, but we just want to be like not going crazy on it. Okay, so as I wrap up, a reminder again that I'm going to be doing a do-over, if you will, of the Get Sexy Started Belly Fat Bye-Bye course. It's in May 16th. I think that's what I said. Yep, May 16th through the 23rd. More details to follow. If you participated last time, you have the opportunity to join in again for free. And I'll have some other opportunities for you guys to participate. Of course, I will do the early bird, so you can save some money there. Okay, if you're not in this group, come on in. The water's fine. We're on Facebook. Girl, Get Your Sexy Back. We'd love to have you participate and get great tools, information, resources, support, encouragement, accountability, on your fitness and wellness journey. I am going to conclude. You guys have a great day, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.